I have a story I'd like to share with you all. This is something that happened to me just over 2 years ago, and it's something that frightens me still when I think about it. It's about a dream I had, but not an ordinary dream. I've had people warn me that this is a bad omen. The story I'm going to share with you is 100% true, as in that it did happen to me, it was a dream, and everyone that's heard this story has warned me to be careful and tread lightly. I don't personally believe in the supernatural or this kind of thing, but I am kind of curious. After you watch this video and you've heard the dream, I want to know from you, is this a warning, a bad omen, something that I should be worried about? Because I can say for sure that this is an experience I have never forgotten. My wife and I were staying at my parents' house for the holidays. They let us stay in my old childhood bedroom, and after a long, fun day of catching up, it was time for bed. This house, growing up in this house, there were some things that happened that I do not have explanations for. However, despite all of that, I felt calm. I was ready for bed, none of that was on my mind, and I was eager to go to bed and wake up the next day and catch up with old friends. So my wife and I get in bed, and we fall asleep. I found myself in a strange building. Inside the building, it was furnished with a mix of modern and older styles. The walls were painted in shades of dark grays and the floors matched. And there was a spiral staircase that led down, so I knew I was on the top floor of this building that I had no recollection of walking into. As I looked around the strange place, I noticed something very odd. There was a tooth sitting on a pedestal. The pedestal was in the middle of the room, almost like a piece at a museum, ready for you to look at and study. I don't know how, but I recognized the tooth as my tooth. I wasn't missing any of my teeth, but it was almost like a baby tooth that I had lost. I picked it up and studied it, and of course, I dropped it. The tooth fell down that spiral staircase I mentioned earlier, and I ran over to try to catch it, but all I could see was this tooth bouncing down the stairs and falling into this abyss. From the current floor I was on, I couldn't see the bottom, but I still followed it. I want to acknowledge here that Dream Mickey is much braver than real life Mickey, because in real life I would have left that building as soon as I saw a tooth, much less follow it down a strange staircase. This is all a big nope for me. So I head downstairs and find myself in this room that's aesthetically similar to the one on top, but this room has candles. Lit candles. I look at the candles sitting on this long decorative cabinet, and I look around at the furniture, and I realize that everything looks very similar to decor my mother would have put up around the house. Which, again, makes sense, I'm seeing stuff that's familiar to me. But instead of the bright, light colors that she uses, everything is still this dark, gray, almost black kind of material. The walls, the couches, the rugs, the floor, it's all very dark. I remember that I'm searching for a tooth, so I go back and search for said tooth. I see it pretty quickly. It's laying on the dusty hardwood floor at the bottom of the staircase. And like before, I picked it up, but this time something happened. All of the candles were extinguished. And not just that, they were all laying on their side, but not randomly. They were pointing at something. All the candles were pointing down this hallway. And when I observe the hallway, I see a room at the end with a light on. It's now the only source of light in this building, or at least around me. I make my way to this room and I take a peek inside. The first thing I see are statues. They're placed on an altar as if they're worshiping someone, a woman. The statues are large. They're about the size you would expect a grown person to be. And the woman they're worshiping is also a statue, but she's the only one with a light on her. And while the others look like concrete, she looks like she's been painted. I look around the room and observe it some more, and I notice that it looks like a prayer room that my grandparents have in their house. And much like that room that they have in their house, this room had red carpeting and a couple of small pews and a section for you to kneel on, like a cushioned piece of wood, also covered in a red padded carpet. I put one foot in this room, and the light that was on the woman that they were worshiping goes out, and the statues immediately look at me. I know I'm not welcome here. Alarmed and panicked, I quickly take a step out of the room. But I don't find myself back in the hallway I was just in. Now I find myself in my parents' backyard. It's a little dark outside. It's in the middle of the day, but it looks like it's about to rain, so keeping up with that gray pattern, the sky's pretty gray, cloudy. But other than that, everything looks as it should. I'm still a little alarmed, a little uneasy about what I just saw with the statues, but I do feel a little safe again. But then I hear something. Someone's crying. It's a baby. I look over at the gate that's in my parents' backyard, and sure enough, I see a baby crawling around. There's no one else around, it's just me and this baby in this backyard. At this time, we don't have any babies in our family. All the kids have grown up. So who could this baby be? I went over to check on it and picked it up to help it stop crying. I tried to calm it down, but the crying got louder, and I began to feel more anxious and uncomfortable again. Then I could almost feel someone walking toward me. It wasn't just like a casual walk, it was very quick. I looked up, took my attention off the baby, and saw a very angry woman coming at me very fast. I didn't know this woman, but I did recognize her. This was the same woman that the statues were worshiping, but this time she was flesh and bone, and very angry with me. I'll be honest, I wasn't sure if this had anything to do with the baby I was holding, or the tooth, or just the simple fact that I wasn't supposed to be here. It looked like she was about to yell something at me, potentially even try to hurt me, but I'll never know because I woke up. I woke up before I could get any resolution to this story. In a panic, I look around the room, and judging from the window that's pretty close to me, I can tell that it's still dark outside. My wife is still asleep next to me, and I don't feel like waking her up. I look at my hands, and they're visibly shaking. I needed to calm down, so I just sat in bed for a little while. After a few moments of assuring myself that it was just a dream and I can relax and I was safe, I decided to go back to sleep. But when I closed my eyes, I'm not sleeping, just simply closed my eyes, all I can see is right in front of me, that woman is staring at me. And she is very angry, almost like she was either warning me to not fall back asleep or waiting for me to fall back asleep so that she could reach me again. I got chills thinking about it. I never went back to sleep that night. I was too afraid. I sat in bed and waited till the sun came up, just waiting for this dream to fall into obscurity like so many dreams before, but this one never did. Like I said at the start of this video, I personally don't believe in the supernatural, but I cannot deny that things have happened in my life that I have no explanation for. This one is a little different. It can easily be written off as a bad dream, and honestly, I have written it off as a bad dream. But I do know one thing. The face that was looking back at me is burned into my mind. I can count on one hand the dreams I've had over my life that I vividly remember, but all of those dreams, I just vividly remember small parts, fragments of a much larger dream that is mostly forgotten. But not this dream. This dream is not hazy at all. There are no fragments. I remember it from start to end, and it looks the same in my mind every single time. I'm almost certain if I saw that woman's face on the street today, I would recognize her immediately, and I would not be stopping to say hello. So what do you all think? Do you know who that woman was? Why was she so angry? Was it all just a bad dream, or was it something much more? Please let me know in the comments below. I'm very eager to see what you all think of this. If you want to hear more stories from my personal life or stories of events that I can't explain, definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Now, what about you? Have you ever had a dream that felt too real or seen an unsettling face you can't forget? Please share your thoughts below. I'd love to know all about it. I'm Mickey Teller, the Masked Storyteller. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you later.